How's it going, everybody? And welcome to another edition of the Stupid Questions podcast. Today we're going to be talking with Chase McQueen. He is a short course, draft legal, very fast paced triathlon racing type of a guy. He races in the Super League Triathlon race series circuit. There's a number of different things that they do, and he also races for WTS and World Triathlon Series, and he is trying to qualify for the Olympics for the upcoming Paris Games in triathlon. So really awesome conversation with this guy. Really enjoyed it, and I hope that you will too. So without further ado, Mr. Chase McQueen. Huge giveaway alert. First of all, thank you so much to Synergy Wetsuits for sponsoring today's episode. It is awesome because they are giving away the Sin Skin 3, which is a state-of-the-art swim skin that will make you faster when you are in the water coming into T1. So here's how you enter that. First of all, there will be a link to our Instagram in the show notes listing out these 5 different things you got to do to get in on the giveaway. But they are, first, you got to follow Stupid Questions and Synergy Wetsuits on Instagram. You got to like the giveaway post, tag 3 friends in the comments, sign up for our email newsletter at stupidquestions.show. There's a link at the top of the website and at the bottom where you can drop your email there. And then the 5th thing is leave a review of the podcast on your preferred platform of choice. And again, that link is going to be in the show notes. Go check it out on our Instagram page, Stupid Questions Podcast, Instagram, and it'll be pinned at the top of that Instagram as well. So thank you so much to Synergy for sponsoring today's episode and partnering with us on this giveaway. I look forward to seeing who is going to win. All right, sweet. Well, we're rolling. How you doing?
Yeah, good. How about you? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. I'm doing good. I'm a little bummed. So I'm from the South. We live right outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and they were up and down saying we were going to get 4 to 5 inches of snow yesterday. Nothing but rain and a little sleet.
Oh,
Just like so gross.
that's brutal. Yeah, I grew up in the Midwest and I feel like our winters were so just gray and like cold and rainy and
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
Now we live in Boulder and it's like, yeah, you actually get snow, which is pretty, I don't know. I'd rather if it's gonna be cold, I'd rather have snow.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And then
Yeah.
in like 2 weeks from now, it's showing, well, a week and a half from now, it's showing like 70 degrees. So maybe
Yeah.
summer will come early this year.
It sounds like it's cold there though. I mean, yeah,
It
it
is
must be.
very cold right now, actually. It's like 17 or 18. It's going to be down into 5 degrees tonight. So it's very cold. Not
Yeah,
normal
wow.
for Tennessee, but we're having that whole polar vortex situation going on.
Yeah, true. I was actually born in Memphis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I lived there for like 8 months, so I don't really know much about it. But yeah, I was born in Memphis, so I guess you could say
Nice.
I'm from Tennessee.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're born and not really raised, I guess. But did you move to Indiana right after?
No, I moved to a few different places, but I guess I spent yeah, my like high school and middle school years in Indiana. So I'd say I grew up in Indiana, but
Yeah,
kind of a few different spots.
yeah, for sure. Did you like moving when you were younger, or did you hate moving?
No, I didn't really mind it. I think I was like happy that I was in one place for kind of like high school and middle school, so then I could have,
Sure.
like a full journey of like I don't know, the years of sports where you're like having friends and relationships and stuff. But when I was
Yeah,
younger, it was kind of just like yeah, meeting a bunch of different new people, like seeing a bunch of new places, which was it was fun. Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like learned a lot from that or like felt more like I was excited about going out of state for college. Like I felt like I was just kind of like a little more cultured. I don't know if you can say it like that, but I felt
yeah.
just like, yeah, comfortable leaving home, being in different spots.
Yeah, I think there's a balancing act for it. I think stability is definitely good for kids, but having the opportunity to meet new people from different places, especially even within the U.S., different ways of living in culture, like you're saying, can prepare you to be, I think, a more well-rounded human for sure.
Yeah, pros and cons.
Yeah,
But
sweet man. Well, we already kind of jumped into it, so I'll just segue into the first question for you. Who
cool.
is Chase McQueen?
Yeah, that's kind of it's a deep question, I guess.
Go as
Yeah.
deep as you want.
Yeah, so my name obviously is Chase McQueen. I'm 25 years old. I was born in Memphis, but I grew up in Indiana and a few different areas. Grew up as a swimmer. That's kind of like my background in athletics.
Hmm.
Yeah, my young childhood and then all the way through high school kind of spent most of my time in the pool, I'd say. kind of like was excited about swimming in college, but then, as I kind of got more and more into the swimming scene, I think I was like a bit burnt out of college. I guess burnt out of swimming in general, but I didn't see myself swimming in college for 4 more years.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I kind of got into triathlon like in high school,
Mm-hmm.
doing like the junior elite stuff, like on that circuit in the U.S. And
Yeah.
I felt like I always had a passion in triathlon or like to pursue triathlon professionally, but obviously, it's not like a Division 1 or even a collegiate, I guess, supported sport. So you couldn't really get a scholarship to go to college for triathlon.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was kind of like in this, I guess, paradox of like, yeah, I didn't want to swim, but I also like wanted to do triathlon, but I also wanted to be able to like go out of state and kind of see a different place and
Yeah.
yeah, afford college, obviously. So
Yeah.
I thought like the best thing for me to do was to run and to like develop my skills in running for like a longer career in triathlon.
Sure.
And I kind of ran like the last 2 years of high school, had shown some, I guess, signs of promise, but I kind of like, I didn't really pursue it wholeheartedly because I was swimming so much.
Yeah.
But I was passionate about it, right? When you like first get into something, it's like, yeah,
Oh
you're
yeah, it's
excited
brand
about
new
it.
and super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to the University of Arizona and running track and field and cross country there.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, that was a great experience. I think I still tried to balance like doing triathlon, but also competing, in track and field and cross country, like trying to commit to that as much as I could. And luckily I had a coach that was pretty like, I guess, lenient with kind of balancing both of those schedules.
Sure.
So I was still racing like junior elite triathlon and kind of like racing some continental cups and things like that, but I was still running. And yeah, when I was I guess ended my sophomore year in college, Project Podium, which is like
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I
Pretty
guess
new.
financially supported, yeah, triathlon program for collegiate men, kind of became a thing. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I got recruited for that while I was running in Arizona, and I kind of made this decision with a few other guys to um, kind of like join this new program that was, yeah, like triathlon, like I said, was something that I had always wanted to do. And
Yeah.
it kind of just hadn't been, I guess, um, financially responsible at that point to do that. And
Mm-hmm.
finally, like this was an opportunity where, we had support. There was a lot of,
Yeah.
um, I guess, infrastructure around like trying to build the men's program in the United
Mm-hmm.
States with draft legal triathlon. And yeah, so me and a few other guys were the first people to join that program, and I stayed there through the rest of college. And yeah, kind of, I guess that's what really kickstarted my triathlon career. But I owe a lot to those like formative years of swimming and then
Sure.
running and then trying to get into kind of a more well-rounded like triathlon training environment.
Yeah, for sure. So that's a really good answer. But I want to ask again, who is Chase, but from the lens of outside of triathlon?
I think I would just say like somebody who is, yeah, excited to like kind of push the boundaries of what I think is capable.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I'm somebody that just gets excited about like things that challenge me and make me uncomfortable. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I majored in finance in college, so like I've always been
Okay.
passionate about things that are, I don't know, just challenging for me, like I said. So triathlons like that. Yeah, finance, like I feel like that industry is kind of like that, very high pressure, fast paced. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think I thrive in that environment, and yeah, I would describe myself as somebody that just likes to challenge myself and try new things, and I guess see what I'm capable of.
Yeah, for sure. Great answer. So let me ask you this: what kind of kid were you? What were you like
Very
as a kid?
well, I don't know. I would say that's a good question for my parents, but I think I have summarized from conversations with them, probably pretty stubborn,
Mm-hmm.
very competitive. Um, yeah, I think like I was always so competitive, almost to a fault at times, but like, even with I had two siblings growing up, two sisters, and always just like, yeah, bickering with them, arguing
Yeah.
with my parents, whatever. But I think at the end of the day, they challenged me in a really good way, and my parents always like expected me to, follow through with things and try my best at different things. And yeah, as a kid, I was always just like, I was probably a little devil, but like, yeah, I don't know. I think it taught me a lot at the same time.
For sure. Where are you at in the lineup with your two sisters?
I'm in the middle. So yeah,
Okay.
older sister and younger sister. Kind of like
Okay.
it that way. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
like somebody to look up to with my older sister, and then I felt like yeah, with my younger sister, it was always yeah somebody that I could be try to aspire to be like a person that she could look up to.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were all pretty close in age, so like spent a lot of time together.
Yeah. Like 1 year, 2 years in between, or
Yeah, 2 years in between for both of
okay.
us.
Nice.
Yeah,
How old are you now?
25. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
So yeah, still I guess still trying to find my way in triathlon, but yeah, I feel like things have really changed for me in the past couple of years, graduating college, started a job, quit a job, kind of
Mm.
pursued this triathlon thing full time, and now I live in Boulder, Colorado. So yeah, moved from Arizona to LA, LA to Colorado, and I've been in Boulder with my partner Gina Serino for yeah, a little over a year now, so pretty cool.
Yeah. That sounds like a lot of change. When did you first move away from home then? Was that for college when you went to Arizona the first time?
Yeah, yeah. So when I was 18, obviously, yeah, after my senior year of high school, I moved to Arizona, and that was something that yeah, like I said, I always like wanted to challenge myself, and I felt like I saw that challenge of kind of moving away from home, trying to
Mm.
become more of an adult, and like learn how to do things on my own. That was like an opportunity to do that, so I was excited about kind of moving away from college,
Yeah.
or for college, and yeah, since I was in college, I guess moved from Tucson, Arizona at the U of A to Phoenix, Arizona, which is where Project Podium, that program was.
Yeah.
And then kind of saw through my tenure there and then moved to Los Angeles for, I guess, a little over a year, um, and worked for, I don't know if you've heard of Robinhood. It's like a yeah,
Yeah.
investing app.
Yeah,
I
on
guess
the on your phone.
yeah, startup in finance and worked for them for I guess 18 months and tried to kind of balance like doing that, doing triathlon, and I kind of felt like I was doing both things pretty averagely.
Mediocre. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really tough to leave that, but also I think yeah, work kind of I made the decision that work was always going to be there and triathlon
Mm.
kind of wasn't. So I
Yeah.
needed to like I didn't want to have any regret. So yeah, I made this decision to kind of go all in on triathlon and moved to Boulder to be with a group and a coach and yeah, still doing that.
Still doing that. So who in your life influenced you the most to make that jump and make that decision?
I think my parents probably
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of weird. Like my parents, I guess they did like high school sports, but they weren't, like crazy athletic, I would say.
Yeah.
They do like yeah, when I was growing up, they were running and lifting and doing things just for exercise and to stay healthy. But they weren't ever like competing at a really high level professionally.
Hmm.
But like in the same sense, they were also still challenging themselves at work. And I think they just ignited that like yeah, kind of pursue your dreams, don't live with any regret, and kind of, you know, follow through with anything that you want to. And luckily, I had parents that were like really supportive of that goal of trying to become the best triathlete I could be. And um, yeah, it was hard because like you're trying to balance kind of making a living and supporting yourself, but
Mm.
also at the same time, like you have these dreams and you don't want to like leave them on the
Let
table.
him go.
And so yeah, both of my parents were very supportive of just like, hey, work's always going to be there. Like you'll find a way to support yourself, and you'll make this work. And yeah, they were very supportive, so that was cool.
So how's that going so far? Like, that's a big jump, making all those things happen. I know it's not an easy thing to do financially.
Yeah, I mean it's been good. I think like I feel like the past couple of years have been lots of highs and lots of lows, and
Mm.
I'm kind of just like riding that wave, like with injuries and bad races and good races and yeah, lots of yeah, like I said, highs and lows. It's just trying to stay kind of even keeled and like at the end of the day, just focus on development and like the end goals that I have. And yeah, I feel like I'm having more time to be more, I guess, uh, yeah, with like recovery and just have more intent around like the training that
Mm.
I'm doing and the things that I'm doing outside of training. I feel like not having work has been really positive in that sense. And so, yeah, I feel like I'm making a lot of improvements and I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm making really good progress. And then sometimes you'll have a setback, but that's just how it goes. And you got
Yeah,
to kind of like keep moving forward. So
for sure.
overall, pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah. So what was high school like for you? Because I know you said you did, 4 years of swimming. So getting into swimming, was that more of your choice? And how was that whole experience for you, even outside of swimming for high school?
Yeah, I started swimming just because I think my parents were trying to teach me kind of like, survival instincts. Like
Okay.
my sister was a swimmer, and so I was kind of just thrown into like, okay, you're gonna do what she does, and you'll go to the pool and whatever. I think I like joined my first club swimming team when I was maybe 4 or 5. I
Wow.
still like, yeah, I have some photos of just, tiny little speedo or whatever, and I looked like I could barely swim, but yeah, I was kind of like a little competitive kid, and I think being in a pool was probably good for my parents, but also good for
Sure.
me. And
Get the energy out.
yeah, so I did that, and then as things kind of progressed, like to 9, 10, 11, 12, like as I started getting to that age, I started to be more competitive and did, like our state championships and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, zones, and yeah, I was really into swimming. I think I had like a lot of success as a younger kid, and I was very motivated to like, yeah, I saw it as one of those sports is like you kind of get in what you put in, sort of. I
Yeah.
felt like I was, as hard as I worked, like I was always rewarded for that. And I don't think like a lot of sports or industries are always necessarily like that. So I
Mm.
really like gravitated towards just working really hard in the pool. In high school, swimming doubles 5 times a week, like 60, 70,000 yards a week. Like, yeah, tons
Wow.
of swimming. Um, I can't even imagine doing that right now. I don't know how I did that, but yeah, it's
Yeah, that's a lot
obviously
of
like,
yards.
yeah, it's kind of blessed me though in a way to now in triathlon, like it's obviously a skill of mine and a kind of a weapon I can use in racing, but I don't have to like spend so much time in the pool training.
Yeah.
So I can kind of focus on other areas of weakness, and yeah, that's been really good. So I'm grateful for that time. But yeah, when I was in high school, it was like just tons of time in the pool.
Yeah.
So
What other, like outside of that sport, was there a sport that you were just like okay at during high school when you were kind of dabbling with the different sports that you wish like you clicked with quicker or better?
uh not in high school. In high school, I was really just like swimming and running. I honestly like wish I was better at running in high school. Like I think
Yeah.
because of how much swimming I do or I did, I felt like I was just kind of maybe overdeveloped in the upper body. Like I was kind of
Huh.
like a fish out of water, like
Yeah.
very uncoordinated, couldn't really do anything. Yeah, not flexible, stuff like that. But in middle school and like when I was younger, my parents like, yeah, supported me kind of doing a bunch of different sports. So I played basketball and like football and baseball, and I actually really liked baseball. Yeah, I just kind of like as swimming got more serious, you just kind of have to like spend more and more
Yeah.
time.
Phase those other things out.
Yeah, so everything just kind of faded away. But I think, yeah, it would have been cool to be like, I love watching sports now, like basketball and football. I like follow the NBA and the NFL a lot, college
Mm.
sports too. But I think like I've always admired just, I think it's more talent, but having a skill with something with a ball, like if I could be good at that, I would love that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you're still young, if something falls through with the biking and swimming and running type of world, maybe you could give a jump over into one of those other sports.
yeah, I wish I was like, I don't know, go to the gym and you see like pickup games of basketball. I wish I was like doing that sort of thing, but at some point, maybe down the road. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
You still got a lot of life ahead of you, so I'd say there's still time, no pressure.
Unfortunately, I think the more I do triathlon, the more and more uncoordinated I get with everything else. So
Really? That's
I
so
don't know.
interesting.
I feel like, yeah, I felt like I used to be able to kind of pick up sports pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've gotten older, or maybe it's just like doing triathlon more and more and becoming more like focused on swimming, biking, and running. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm just not as talented or maybe not as skilled at like just picking something up quickly. Something like bowling or, whatever, like ping
I'm
pong,
so
like
bad at
anything
bowling.
like that. I'm
Yeah.
just like not as good.
Yeah. I
But
wonder if it's because of all the forward movement, like one plane of motion type of a deal, because a lot of those other sports have a little bit more of a side to side aspect to them.
yeah, I don't know. Or just I need to spend more time. Maybe that's like for me, I think things have never really come super easy. I just have to spend some time working on them.
Yeah, that seems like a common thread within our sport of triathlon. I hear a lot of bigger names say that kind of a thing.
Yeah, I think that's why, like, again, you kind of gravitate towards these endurance sports. It's like, yeah, you really do get out what you put in. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the more and more you do it, the more and more you realize it's like all these little things, the more time you spend recovering or doing, eating healthy, like the more time you
Right.
spend on triathlon, the better you are. And like,
Yeah.
I don't think every sport is like that. And so that's why, yeah, that's why we love triathlon and running and swimming. And yeah, the more you work, the more you get out.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So when did you start to understand or believe that, like, man, I'm kind of good at this, the triathlon thing? I assume it started with swimming, but
Yeah, I think when I was like a junior triathlete, I kind of, when I was like 16, 17, I always had swimming as like a weapon. So I was always
mm-hmm.
kind of like towards the front of the race, but I was never kind of finishing, as high as I would want to because my run wasn't really there.
Mm-hmm.
I felt talented like on the bike. I think growing up as a kid, I was always on the bike, just kind of cruising around the neighborhood or whatever. So I don't know if that helped, but I think swimming
I'm
and
sure it
biking
did.
like always came pretty naturally to me. And then running was the one thing that I was like really had to improve at. So I kind of like saw myself in big races. I was like always at the front
Mm-hmm.
until transition two, and then it was like, if I can just improve this, I can be world class, like I always believe that. Um, and kind of still as I progress like through kind of racing Continental Cups, World Series, like it's still the same theme sort of like I feel really competitive swimming and biking, and then like the one area where I still just need to improve is running. And it's like, yeah, it kind of is like that. You just feel like you're so close, and then you know as you get higher and higher, it's like 20 seconds, 30 seconds in the 10K. Like that's a lot of time, like
Yeah.
to drop that is really hard. And then, yeah, you just kind of have an appreciation for like how good these guys actually are. But yeah, I feel like I always saw potential in myself, or I always believed in myself. And I think I had a really supportive group of people around me that always kind of supported me as well. But maybe I'd say when I started running in college and having some success there, I think that's when I truly believed like,
Yeah.
okay, if I can put all this stuff together, like I can be pretty good.
Yeah. So in 2015, you went to junior world champs in Chicago, and then 17 to Rotterdam. How old were you
Yeah.
at that time?
So in 2015, I was 17. So that
Okay.
was kind of like my
17,
second
18.
year racing triathlon.
Okay.
Um,
Wow.
that race was crazy actually. It was in Chicago. Yeah, it was raining crazy. It was a duathlon.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
I crashed twice on the bike.
Are you
Yeah.
serious? Oh
Yeah.
my. What
Uh,
happened?
it was just raining, like, and I was just, super aggressive, like on the bike. I was probably overconfident into Lakeshore Drive right there, like tons of pain on the road and like tons of turns on that course, and I was just like sliding everywhere,
Oh my
crazy.
goodness.
But yeah, and then Rotterdam, I would have been 19, so I was like at that top of the junior elite age group. Um, and I think, yeah, maybe I was like 11th or 12th, I think, in that race.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that was kind of the first time I had like put together a really well-rounded race on kind of like an international level.
Yeah.
And I think that's honestly kind of a race that like changed the trajectory of where I was going, because it kind of, yeah, it kind of gave me the belief that like, okay, worldwide, like international level, you can compete with these guys. And
Hmm.
like you just have to continue to progress your, yeah, progress in terms of development. But like that was the first time I felt like, okay, I actually belong here.
Yeah. A new level of belief in yourself, and
Yeah,
like, oh, maybe I can get to that next step.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's sweet, man. So during that time, did you start college before that Rotterdam race? Like when you're 18? You did. Okay.
Yeah, so I would have started college like that. I think I probably would have started college that fall. So it would have been like the first semester of school, and I would have been, yeah, kind of. I think, like I said, I was running, but I was still trying to balance cross training and doing all of
Mm-hmm.
that as well. So I think like, yeah, I remember it being pretty tough. Like I was trying to really commit to running, and at the same time, I like had one more year of junior elite triathlon, and
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, this is kind of the best moment for me to have a great result. And yeah, I remember like with my coach in college kind of being like, okay, maybe we should not try to run as much mileage so I can like get in the pool and do some bike workouts and stuff like that. But obviously, like I'm there to run, right? So it's kind of hard to say that.
Yeah,
But
for
I
sure.
remember just being like exhausted going to the pool and swimming alone. And
Mm,
luckily, like in Tucson, there's a pretty good, I guess, infrastructure for triathlon, but also just like tons of people are doing it. So there's lots of groups to jump in, and the biking was super easy. And a couple of my roommates actually, my freshman year roommate was a triathlete as well. So like, yeah, we got to do a lot together, which was that was helpful. But I do remember that being tough. It's hard to juggle two things at once. I mean, whether it's work or whatever, like, yeah, having so much going
yeah.
on is like, yeah, when with a sport like triathlon, it's hard.
Yeah, for sure. And you were going to school on a scholarship for track and field, right?
Yeah, well, so I was actually like I kind of walked onto that program because I was
Okay.
yeah, I was more of a swimmer. And yeah, I couldn't like I wasn't good enough to get a full scholarship to go run.
Yeah.
But I knew like running was what was going to help me improve in triathlon, so it's kind of a risk I was like willing to take. And I did have some support, but it wasn't like probably as much as I could have had if I was swimming.
Yeah.
So I took all my college. Actually, it's weird. Like I took all my college visits for swimming, and I was like so committed to swimming. And then I was just like on these college visits, and I was like, man, I just don't see myself doing this for 4 or 5 more years.
Yeah.
Swimming's hard like that, like spending so much time just staring at the line. It's like kind of gets yeah, that's tough mentally. I think
Mind numbing.
after a while, yeah.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
I think that's one thing that's always like pulled me towards triathlon is just like the community aspect of like, okay, you can go on bike rides with people and chat
Yeah.
and
Very
even running
social.
like very social. And I think I miss that sometimes with swimming. Like I had, my group of friends that I was swimming with.
Hmm.
But I think like outside of that, I wasn't really challenging myself to like create relationships and yeah, maintain friendships even like I think triathlon's better for that. It's just healthy.
Yeah, for sure. So that actually want to ask a question about that when it comes to relationships and friendships and how you've built them within the professional career, and then you're doing the stuff like Super League and WTS racing. Is it easy to make friends, or what's the atmosphere like?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting actually. Like I whenever I started triathlon, like I was always kind of scared of these top guys, like you kind of like look up to them and you admire them and you're like, wow, these guys are just on a different level.
Yeah, they're the
Um,
best.
yeah. And it's intimidating, right? Like you show up on a start line. I remember my first World Series in Leeds, I think it was in 2021, maybe. I showed up on the start line and like I lined up next to Alistair Brownlee and I'm like, this is insane. Like I'm terrified, right? Like
Yeah,
I don't belong here. And then you just kind of like get stuck into the race and obviously there's nerves, but like at the end of the day these people are normal people, right? Like
yeah,
Alistair,
every day.
Johnny, Alex, Hayden, all these Christian, even like all these guys are just like down to earth dudes. And I mean they're working really hard and they're obviously very talented, but like that's one thing that I've like totally learned is just these guys are cool. Like it's easy to be friends with them. It's easy to like, yeah, when we're on the race course, it's competitive, but like after the race, it's, we can kick it and like have fun and go out to dinner. And, yeah, there's no like hard feeling. It's just, it's racing. And
Yeah,
Super League is like another level of that. It's even, you're all in this tight community. You're kind of like traveling together. You're racing sometimes as a team with people. And, yeah, there's tons of friendship there. Like I think I'm grateful to Super League for a lot of things, but the biggest is probably just like the relationships I've created.
mm,
Like these guys, are people that I've admired for years, and yeah, I'm just learning more and more like how nice they actually are. And I mean, I can give you some examples, but like, I
please
mean,
do.
a guy like Johnny Brownlee, like this guy is, more accomplished than almost anybody in our sport, and he's like the first person to reach out if something's going on, or he's
Mm,
like, yeah, I remember there was this race in Toulouse this year, Super League race, and we had this girl on the Warriors team, the American team, right? This really young girl named Hime, and she crashed. Like, this is the first race she's doing at this level. There's tons, she's intimidated, you know, there's tons of like
And then
Olympic
boom,
medalists,
yeah.
world champs, all this stuff around her. Can't imagine what she was feeling. And she crashes like in the first corner of the bike. And it's like, obviously she's crying, she's upset. And I remember her walking into the transition area and Johnny's there. And Johnny just like walks up to her and just gives her a hug and is like, "Hey, it's just triathlon. It's going to be okay. Like, you're 16, you know, just keep your head down and like keep working, and nobody's judging you because you went down or whatever. Like, you know, you belong here for a reason." And
Mm,
I'm just like listening to that and I'm like, dang, like this guy's, you know, he has nothing to say to anybody. Like, he doesn't prove, he doesn't, I mean, yeah, it's just amazing when you see somebody like on that level and they're actually just a genuine down to earth person. And
mm.
it's like, they're actually, you know, they care about other people. I thought that was pretty special, that moment.
Yeah, yeah, that's super interesting. Uh, that was this year you said in Toulouse?
Yeah, that was this year in Toulouse. Yeah, still special to me. Like, I think Johnny and I have like, yeah, we have a relationship, just a friendship as well. But like seeing him do that, it said a lot about his character, and I think, yeah, really made me look up to him even more, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's inspiring. So, have you
Yeah.
had opportunities where you can start to hand off and hand forward that a similar kind of a token to other people that are coming in?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not on that level, you know, like I think I've been in a position the past couple of years where, yeah, I am kind of acknowledging that like people are watching me and people are not, like, looking up to me. Um, there's some, like, yeah, every once in a while I'll get a message on Instagram or something that is from a parent or sometimes from kids, but like I try to do what I can, you know, like send them a Super League race suit or a signed shirt or something and
Yeah,
just say like, you know, I was in your position, you know, a long time ago, and I had people that I look up to.
planting the
And
seeds.
yeah, I try to just remember those times when I was a kid and I was like intimidated, or I was, you know, wish I knew people that were racing at the highest level. And I think there's always something to learn there. So yeah, I try to do what I can, but it is pretty cool, like going to races and people are cheering for you from other countries. You don't even know who
Mm-hmm.
they are, and asking for autographs. And yeah, when I was in Chile this year at the Pan American Games, like, I mean, I didn't even have a good race, and people were like at the finish, just, you know, asking for autographs
Screaming.
and stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty, kind of makes you take a step back and just be like, yeah, despite the results, whatever, you know, we do have a platform to like really try to help inspire kids,
Mm.
and there's always people looking up to you, whether you get first or whether you get 40th or whatever. So it's like, try to set a good example, and be a person that when you were a kid you would have wished that you had somebody to look up to like that, you know.
Yeah, for sure. So, as you've started to gain a level of fame, do you feel like it's changed you at all?
I hope not. I think like, yeah, I obviously like, it's tough. Like, I don't think I've changed as a person, but I
Yeah.
think that level of it creates like a level of pressure, sort of, that you kind of are on an elevated
Mm-hmm.
platform, and you know you're expected to, you know, have good races all the time, and like, you know, always be in a good mood or whatever. It's like, um sometimes that's tough, you know, like when you're going through a rough patch or you're maybe a bit injured, it's like dealing with those highs and lows kind of is tough emotionally, but also just, um yeah, when you go to a race and you're like expected to perform and you don't, obviously, like, that's tough, you know. So I think I'm learning kind of how to manage all of that, and that's something that I'm definitely trying to improve at. It's just like, people are always going to have highs and lows, and you got to figure out kind of how to get through them, and just like stay even keeled, like I said before, through it all. So as a person, I don't think I've changed. I think like I still have, yeah, the same, I guess, characteristics as I did when I was growing up. But yeah, just that level of like intensified pressure. It feels sometimes like you're just kind of in a
Pressure
box,
cooker.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. How many years have you been involved with Super League now?
uh, I guess 3 years.
Three
Yeah.
years.
So I think they've been around maybe 5 or 6 years. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, a few years now. I definitely, I mean, that's some of like my favorite racing for sure. Like, super fast. I think as a swimmer, that's also kind of to my strength.
Oh
To
yeah, for sure.
it feels like you have to be more of a well-rounded triathlete.
Mm-hmm.
not just, always a running race or whatever. The biking's always super intense, very
Sure.
technical. Got to be good at taking risks. And yeah, I think there's just like, I love that environment because it's high pressure, but at the same time, it's like low pressure. Like
Yeah.
you're on a big platform and there's lots of people watching, but at the same time, you're kind of just in this race that's like, you're with 20 of your friends. It's like there's not a ton on the line. It's just kind of everybody's here to do well, but like also everybody's supported well.
Mm.
So that creates an environment where it's just like it's fun and it's very professional at the same time. But like, yeah, I think when I was in college and I was running, it's like you have this amazing team aspect of like, you want to help your teammates improve, your coaches really want to help you develop, like things like that. That I think sometimes in triathlon get lost. It's like
Mm.
it is so individual at times. And when you go into a super league environment and you're like racing with other people and you're trying to help your teammates out, it's like you kind of get that sense of collegiate athletics again, which
Yeah.
yeah, I think is really cool.
Is there an age range for Super League? Does that even matter? Do they keep that in a
No,
no?
yeah. So I mean, I think this year we had, like I said, Hime. I think she's 16.
Yeah.
And then yeah, you have. I mean, I don't even know who the oldest person would be, but definitely people in their 30s. Like
Yeah.
um, I mean, think about like Johnny, right? He's been to three Olympics, could be four next year. It's like,
Yeah.
or this year. He's been around a long time, and yeah, to have that range of like people that are obviously talented and show potential, but haven't really proved themselves yet. I mean, even myself, right? Like, I haven't really done a ton yet, but to be racing against guys like that successful, Hayden, Alex, Johnny, it's like
Right.
Christian, that's pretty cool to be able to be like sharing the same race course as those guys is sweet.
Yeah, I'm sure that feels amazing. So for about 60%, it's about 65% actually of our listener base is from the U.S. So
Okay.
Super League is not on most people's radar as of yet. It's a lot of like middle distance, long distance, especially with some of
Yeah.
our guests. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on. And like Jack, his episode at the time this comes out will already be aired, but it hasn't been yet. So I want you to kind of explain for me or for us just what is Super League.
So I think at the core, Super League is just a very fast-paced, draft legal, short, and hectic triathlon, or lots of triathlons. Um, there's two different races, I guess, or yeah, there's an indoor season in the spring, which is
Okay.
called the Arena Games, and you do like a swimming in the pool, biking on the trainer, running on the treadmill, and then the main season is in the outdoors, like in the fall, and that's called the Super League Championship Series, and that's where you see like most of the big guys and girls racing. But it's really a unique form of triathlon. It's like there's different formats. So you'll have like the enduro, which is swim, bike, run, straight into swim, bike, run, straight into swim, bike, run, no breaks. And you swim 200 meters, bike 4K, and run a 1500. So it's like over in 20 minutes, and then
Yeah.
you go straight back into the next one. So it's very fast paced, very like VO2 effort. And it's also very dynamic. Like there's obviously drafting going on, but there's a lot of very technical courses. So you'll have hills, you'll have downhills, you'll have tight turns, 90-degree turns. And there's 20 guys in a race, 20 girls in a race. So you got, some of the best people in the world racing at a very fast level.
Hmm.
And it's just like, yeah, tons of drama, tons of excitement. And there's different formats, right? Like I mentioned the enduro, but then there's the eliminator format, which is swim, bike, run, break, swim, bike, run, break, swim, bike, run. But the thing is, like, if you're in the bottom three of those 20 people, each round you get eliminated. So you kind of just have to like manage your effort to not be in the bottom three. And then the last one is just like
Just
full throttle.
all to the wall. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's pretty unique. I guess like it was kind of started by Chris McCormick, which probably some of the listeners know from his long
Hmm.
course background. But yeah, he wanted to just create like a very spectator friendly, fast paced, high drama kind of race circuit and for draft legal short course triathletes. And I think him and Michael Dolst and the backers have kind of done a really good job. Like, yeah, bringing a lot of eyes to draft legal triathlon, right? Because in the US, like you said, draft legal triathlon is kind of irrelevant because it's
Yeah.
not a participation sport necessarily, and most people are excited about Ironman and 70.3. But yeah, I would encourage anyone to like throw on a Super League video just on YouTube and check it out because it's very easy to watch. The circuit's like, really like it's a 1K bike loop, right? So if you're a spectator there, it's like really easy to watch. You see people tons of times,
Yeah, just flying by.
and yeah, there's lots of drama, right? Like there's crashes, and you're always like on your toes with who's going to get eliminated. You're trying to do the math on like there's a 90-second elimination rule in some of the races. So if you fall more than 90 seconds behind, you get wiped out of the race. Um, Also, they throw in some curveballs like the fastest swim or the fastest bike and the fastest run. You get kind of, yeah, preems for those. They have these like short shoot things where if you're the fastest swimmer and you get out of the water first and make it through transition, then you get to take a shortcut on the run. So it's
Yeah.
like yeah, it's this huge like game sort of okay, where do you spend your energy? Do you want to like spend all your effort here to try to get a shortcut here or whatever? It's tons of drama. It sounds confusing, but I think yeah, if you just watch it, it is really fun. And for us, like draft legal triathlon is sometimes very monotonous. Like the courses are kind of the same. Maybe it's always a running race. But like these races are just like super dynamic, very fast, and tons of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a great explanation. Thank you so much for doing that. And I also heard you said like the I forget what it was called, but this type of race where it's swim, bike, run, break, swim, bike, run, break, swim, bike, run. I thought I saw some, and maybe it was in London where it's like swim, bike, run, bike, swim, run, and yeah, does that happen
Yeah.
every time in a Super League race? Is it always changed up in the order?
No, it's not always changed up. So I guess I'll just run through this year. In the championship series, we had four races. We had London, Toulouse, Malibu, and then Neon was the final. And each race they do a different format. So one of the races was an enduro, which is
Okay.
swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run, no breaks.
Hmm.
One of the races was an eliminator, which was swim, bike, run, break, swim, bike, run, break, and then you do like your accumulated time pursuit start, and then you do swim, bike, run again, but people are getting eliminated the whole time. And then
Okay,
the other
interesting.
one is, yeah, that weird one where you do swim, bike, run, and then you go straight into a run, bike, swim, and then you go, so you're ending on a swim, which is like, oh, it's
You're
so tough.
dying. Is there anyone
Yeah.
drowning? Like, good grief.
Well, it's like you feel like you're drowning for sure. And then yeah, the last round is a bike swim run. So then again, you're kind of swimming under fatigue. And yeah, it's very interesting because like you're doing a lot of transitions that are like not your normal transition, right? Like you're not going from swim to bike and you got to think, okay, I'm putting my helmet on, and then
Yeah,
jumping on your
yeah. I've
bike.
seen
You're
some
like
wacky stuff happen.
you're getting off your bike and then you got to remember to take your helmet off, throw your goggles on. Like, yeah, there was one race where Johnny Brownlee like ran into the water with his helmet on because he forgot
Yeah.
to take it off. People are like running without shoes. It's like, yeah, it's lots of drama. And I think when you're racing at that very high output, like high
Your
VO2
brain.
effort,
Yeah.
your brain's just like not even thinking straight. So
Yeah.
you're kind of yeah, that's actually something that I love about Super League though, is it creates like this environment where you have to be very instinctual. And yeah, like when I was racing the World Series in 2021, right, I'm looking at these guys and I'm like, man, everything is moving so fast. Like
Mm.
these guys are so good and everything's going so quick, like I can't even think. And then you do Super League and you're just like thrown into this fire and everything's moving so quickly that then now I go back to a World Series and I'm like, this is the slowest thing ever. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like looking around like what is going, like this is I want to do something, like I want to move or try to make an attack, or like I'm like
Yeah.
excited to do something. Yeah, so Super League's cool like that. Good instincts, teaches good instincts.
Yeah. That's so cool. So, how did Chase McQueen get involved with Super League Triathlon?
I think it was. I think I just had kind of created a name for myself with World Series racing, and like I was always known as this good swim biker that was always like at the front of the races, but I still had some development to go with my run. And I think I just kind of like maybe got a message from them that was like, hey, we're interested in having you race. But I think at the same time I was just like, doing a lot of the races that they do, not the championship series. So like the arena games that I mentioned earlier,
Hmm.
I was racing the indoor series races, and yeah, I just kind of proved that I was up to the level of like racing the championship series. Luckily, they do have lots of different race opportunities for like younger kids to try to get into. They have like Super League series, but it'll just be like a one-off race that younger kids can sign up for.
Okay, cool.
Also, the arena games is like something that a lot of people that are racing can do, and racing world triathlon draft legal stuff can do, and that's just essentially the same thing. It's like swim, bike, run, weird formats and stuff, but you're just doing it indoors.
Yeah.
They kind of created that over COVID, which was yeah very progressive, very cool. And then they've also started to kind of accumulate races throughout, especially the U.S. They're really trying to make a push into the U.S. And so they bought the Lifetime Triathlon in New York, Lifetime Triathlon in Chicago. Now they also have a
California's tough.
yeah California as well. So yeah, they're trying to kind of make a push into the U.S. and they have a lot of races that age groupers can sign up for as well. So yeah, I would encourage everyone to kind of check out those Lifetime races too, because yeah, lots of potential there. I think Super League is a brand that's they're always kind of thinking about the next move, and like I said, they're super progressive and very exciting, and I think viewers can really get behind like that sort of racing.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few years because do you know Nicholas Chase obviously probably through
Yeah.
OTS stuff. So he's actually my coach, believe it or
Oh,
not.
cool.
Um,
Nice.
super cool guy, but he was sharing with me kind of some of the ideas and things that are floating around with Super League coming to the U.S. And he said it's been not a super easy road, but they're trying to figure it all out for investment wise to figure out how to get the dollars here to make that long term investment because it's just such a different market than over in Europe where, like you said, participation sport, everybody's into kind of middle distance and long distance. So I hope it
Yeah.
continues to grow in the U.S. because I'd love to go to some of these. Stuff. Maybe they'll bring one to Atlanta, Georgia, or something like that. It'd be awesome to go and join in one. And yeah, I mean, race it would be really fun, but to even watch it,
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're doing everything they can. I know they're trying to make it more like a professional sports league where, they franchise the teams and
mm-hmm.
they have investors that are buying the teams and you can buy and trade players and you have contracts, stuff like that. Obviously that's like long-term goals, but I do know like if anybody can do it, it's those guys. Like they're very yeah, forward thinkers and kind of I think yeah, I believe in them. So hopefully they continue to make that push. It's super exciting for obviously to race, but I think there is a lot of potential with viewership and things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, very entrepreneurial in their endeavors, no
Yeah.
doubt. So you're 25. Do you think that you'll ever go over to middle distance and then long course? It seems like what most people do. Is that on your radar?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm actually kind of excited this year to try to like incorporate some of that into my schedule as well.
Oh,
It kind
really?
of yeah, it depends like how things go with Paris. Obviously like qualification for that's still sort of on the line, but
Yeah, you're still trying to get in.
yeah, I think there's a few races that I'm trying to think about. Like I'd actually love to do Boulder 70.3 because
Okay,
it's like
right
in the
there.
qualification window to qualify for 70.3 Worlds at the end of the year, which would be obviously really cool in
New
Taupo.
Zealand's great.
So
I just am buying my stuff right now, actually.
oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would love to do that. It's just tough trying to kind of balance, both things and fit it in the schedule.
Yeah.
Luckily, I think 70.3 is relatively similar to like training for Olympic distance.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'd need to be more comfortable on a TT bike, but yeah, I think I do see myself like down the road for sure doing long course triathlon. Yeah, like I said too before, I think the relationships and like triathlon as a community is something that like really excites me and inspires me, and I think connecting with that community is a lot easier in long course. So it's like
Yeah.
not just racing, but I think kind of having that connection with other people that are doing it is something that like yeah excites me for down the road.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in Boulder doing that for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy here. It's like yeah, I don't know if you've ever been out here, but
I haven't.
yeah, it's amazing. Like you hear all these things about it, and you're just like, is there's no way it actually lives up to
Is it
that
the promised
level.
land?
And then you move here and you're like, man, this is actually amazing. Like the training's so good. I mean, I was at the pool this morning and you got like Olympic medalists just on either side of you. You know, Gwen's in the pool and
Hmm.
Morgan's in the pool, and then you have, you know, different Ironman champions. It's like it's just crazy. Yeah, you would never expect in one small place like this to have so many amazing
Yeah.
athletes, and it lives up to the hype. You gotta check it out.
Yeah, like-minded people. So for that pool, is that just a pool anybody can go to, or is that like is
Yeah,
that where
it's
this
just
this
a
really?
no, literally it's just a lap swimming pool. Like they have a few different pools in Boulder, and yeah, if you just go to any of them, you'll see, you know, some of these people. But I was just at, I don't know if you know Julie Divins. She's like a pretty, yeah, famous, I guess, long distance coach.
Yeah, her podcast actually with her is gonna drop on Friday. Believe it or not.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she has a master's like lap swimming 2 times a week, Tuesday and Thursday, just at a
Oh, sweet.
local like YMCA, and a bunch of people go to that. Yeah, you have Taylor Nibb and Gwen and Morgan, and then yeah, it's amazing how many people show up to that. Also, some long course people, right? Like Chris Lieferman and Sam
Mm-hmm.
Appleton and
Yeah.
all these guys. It's crazy. Like,
All the names.
yeah, it's amazing. Sometimes I would say like the only downside about Boulder is that it's like sometimes you just can't get away from it. It's like
Yeah.
hard to it's hard to like just kind of separate yourself if you need space. But other than that, it is yeah, the training's great. The people are great. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, good luck getting any Strava segments and KOMs. I bet it's like super hard to get anything out in that neck of the woods.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't, that's not, I guess, I don't even know. I'm on Strava, I think, but yeah, not
You
something that
got
I'm
bigger
like.
fish to fry. That's for us mere mortals that want to feel good about ourselves.
No, Strava is cool though. Like, I know some friends that definitely are into it. Yeah, good encouragement.
Yeah, yeah, it's super
Yeah,
fun.
good way to
So
motivate yourself.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, my wife and I. So she's graduating in May with nurse practitioner here in Chattanooga, and we're contemplating where to move. And I've gotten to know like Mark Dubrick and Matt Sharp and a few other people that are in that area. And
Yeah,
Boulder would be super fun to come out there just to get dropped by some guys. I think it would be super fun, and it would
yeah,
it would level up anybody's performance. I feel like so.
yeah. I mean, yeah, the infrastructure is amazing. Also, just the altitude is like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
obviously that's a huge advantage. Yeah, you got tons of people on the podcast. So I'm sure you have plenty of places you could stay. You're also welcome to stay here
Oh, thanks, man.
if you ever want to check it out. But I literally live like I can see Matt Sharp and Kirsten's place from where I'm living. So it's like right down the street.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. Small
Yeah.
place. My goodness, that's so funny. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
have to. I will take you up on that. Just be careful when you offer that kind of a thing because people, they say, oh, yeah, make yourself at home. Like, I'll literally go in the fridge and I'm looking for food. So,
No,
yeah, we'll
I don't
see.
mind. Yeah, it's always like that's what I said. Like honestly, this stuff is cool for me. Like I love connecting with people, and I think, yeah, like you said, it's always like me challenging myself to kind of give back to the community that's given me so much. So it's like
Yeah,
I'm grateful. Yeah, always.
for sure, man. Awesome. Well, I have a few more questions for you.
Yeah, let's
This
do it.
one is a little bit more intellectual or philosophical, as you will. Feel free to take it any way you want. How do you think and problem solve? Like if you have a big thing, a big decision, or something that you're just trying to get figured out, do you have any types of steps or things that you do to start to tackle that problem?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, like my personality is I'm like extremely organized and very I would say like yeah, a bit OCD.
Yeah,
I think like time management, stuff like that is always really come like naturally to me. But I
sure.
think when I have a problem that is right in front of me, I like try to break it down into small steps. So let's say hypothetically one of these problems of, you know, like racing or qualifying for the Olympics, let's say it's like, how do I actually achieve that? I
Mm-hmm.
break it down into small steps. Like I need to do these qualification races. Okay. To do these qualification races, I need to have enough points to get into those races. To get into those like the point situation that I need to be in, I need to be able to hit these times or hit these wattages. And I kind of like, yeah, break things down into just small baby steps. And it
Yeah,
seems, yeah, when you look at a big goal or a big hurdle that you need to overcome, it's like sometimes it can be daunting and overwhelming. But if you just break it down into small steps, I think a lot of the time it seems a lot more attainable and achievable. And you're going to have setbacks along the way. And I think
Sure.
kind of like acknowledging that and knowing that like it's okay. That is just kind of like part of the journey, you know? That's a huge advantage as well. So in summary, I think, yeah, break things down into small steps. Know that there's going to be ups and downs, but just kind of like keep the end goal in the back of your mind at all times and like know that, yeah, if you just kind of take things one step at a time, you can achieve it.
Yeah. Great answer. So, what is your big goal for 2024 and beyond? We'll stick with 2024 and beyond. That's so big.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's kind of cliche to say this, but I think last year I really had a lot of like emotional ups and downs. Like I was kind of
Mm,
caught up in this cycle of pressure, right? With like, yeah, that pressure cooker scenario where you're trying to qualify for the Olympics, and it's like you do all these big races, and you have results that kind of don't go your way. And I kind of like lost sight of just why I do triathlon. Like,
mm,
it's not just for these accolades or good results. It's like it is because I love it, right? Like, I have a lot of fun with the training. I love pushing myself in training. In racing, like I get to create all these relationships and network with people that I've admired for so long and look up to. It's like I just kind of want to get back to having fun in racing.
mm.
And yeah, it sounds cliche, like I said, to say that, but it is so true.
It's
Like
not easy.
I'm racing the best when I'm happy, and I'm racing the best when I'm like consistently in a good mood, you know, and like I'm not kind of ebbing and flowing with yeah, my mental state. I think just focusing on like being positive, enjoying what I'm doing, you know, picking a race schedule that like I can get excited about. And I think like overall, those are kind of my main goals. But like on paper, result wise, like obviously I'd love to qualify for the Olympics.
Yeah.
I'd love to be more competitive in Super League, trying to like fight for podiums. I think, yeah, it'd be another goal to like race a 70.3 and try to qualify for Taupo. That's like another thing that I would get excited about. So yeah, I have a few, I guess, but
Yeah. No, those are all really excellent ones, and I do want to ask some questions about them. But kind of the big thing I think that hit me that you said is like you realize that you race the best when you're happy, and you know you have a good attitude, this, that, and the other. What do you do that helps to afford that kind of a mindset? Like, are there any pre-qualifications of things that like you have on the list, or you think about like, oh well, I'm not eating right or whatever? Like, are there a number of different things that you realize are really the effectors of that change?
I think like honestly, for me last year, so I quit working and I kind of like went all in on this dream of triathlon, right? And I was like always trying to justify that decision. And like in my
Mm,
head, you know, I was just stressed, right? Like I'm like, oh man, bad race. Maybe I shouldn't have quit my job. Or like, oh, bad race. Like, look at what I'm doing. I moved to Boulder. I'm living this like amazing lifestyle
right.
and I'm training full time and I'm traveling all over the world. And maybe I don't deserve it because I just race bad. You know, like you have these bad thoughts in your head. And you just got to like find a way to, I guess it helps just surround yourself with positive people. But you got to find a way to like kind of acknowledge, yeah, there's going to be ups and downs. Like it's not always going to be smooth sailing.
Yeah,
You know,
for
you're going
sure.
to have bad races, and that doesn't mean you aren't capable, or it doesn't mean you aren't deserving of like whatever you're trying to achieve. Um, and so, yeah, I struggled with that last year for sure, and I'm just trying to be more cognizant of like that headspace. That yeah, it's dangerous to like go down that line of kind of negative thinking. And I think my partner Gina, she's been obviously very supportive of like what I'm doing, and she obviously inspires me too. But surrounding
Sure.
myself with a group of people that's like minded and
Mm,
kind of keeps you in check when you're going good or when you're going bad. It's like yeah, that's really helpful for me.
yeah, good stuff. Nice, a lot of practical stuff too. So, how did you meet Gina?
So Gina and I met actually over COVID, the very beginning of COVID. I was at a training camp with Project Podium in Park City, Utah,
Okay.
and Gina had just came from the CRP. I guess she was part of that like college recruitment program. With she ran at University of Michigan, was like an amazing runner in college, and she kind of got recruited to do triathlon through the college recruitment program. So
Okay.
yeah, we had two different like kind of entries into the sport. Like I kind of grew up doing it a bit, and she was like this really good one sport athlete, amazing runner, and had some sort of a swim background where she got recruited to like kind of really develop into this great triathlete. And so she was just at a camp with the CRP in Park City at the beginning of 2020, I guess that was.
Okay.
And she's also, yeah, she's an engineer at NASA at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in
Oh,
Los
that's
Angeles.
sick.
Yeah, very cool. But she, like, luckily with COVID, actually had the grace to like work remotely and could stay
Wow.
in Park City for a little bit. And yeah, then I went back to Phoenix and she came back to Phoenix with me for a bit and kind of just, yeah, we've been together since then. But it's been like a crazy journey seeing her development in the sport as well because like I said when I met her she was just this amazing runner. She knew how to swim but like wasn't a competitive swimmer, you know, could barely stick her face in the water when she was swimming.
Okay.
And now she's like got a chance to qualify for the Olympics, you know, she's multiple like World Cup medalist, one of the best girls, ranked top 30 in the world, like just amazing, this amazing incline of progress. And yeah, she's got a long way to go still, but like I think being around her has been inspiring for me because she's such a talented athlete, but like she works so hard and kind
Yeah,
of
for
seeing
real.
her balance work as well. Like with being an engineer, it's like I don't know how she has the time for that, but she does. Yeah, her time management's amazing.
What's her last name?
Sereno,
Serena.
Sereno. Yeah. So
I'm
yeah, she's kind of doing the same thing I'm doing, which is exciting as well. Like we get to travel a lot together and
yeah.
race together. But yeah, she raced like the Pan American Games. She's raced a few World Series races. She's right in the thick of it to try to qualify for the
Yeah,
Olympics
yeah,
as
yeah. I
well.
recognize her now. I'm looking her up on Instagram. I was trying to remember.
Yeah.
Because wasn't there like a little. Didn't Super League do some kind of a bit about you guys or something? Highlighting your
Yeah,
relationship or something?
yeah. So in the spring of this year, we were like both in the mix to win, I guess, world titles in the arena games, like what I was
Yeah,
mentioning
yeah.
earlier, the indoor series.
Mm hmm.
And so yeah, they just did I guess some video and stuff with around that, like us living together, training together, moving to Boulder,
Yeah.
kind of seeing how she operates with work and you know the stuff we have going on. So um,
Yeah, that's like not
yeah,
an easy
pretty cool.
job to balance, it seems like.
Yeah, it's definitely not. She's like the type of person though that is very wants to be like stimulated all the time. I think with work and with triathlon, she's got so much going on, but it's almost like better for her that she has so much going on, you
Yeah.
know? She's got that like engineer mindset of just, yeah, how can I fix things? How can I do this? Um, yeah, it's pretty inspiring to see because I think a lot of people at the highest level, you kind of get overwhelmed when you have that much stuff going on.
Yeah.
And she balances both things really well. So she just
Yeah.
actually, she's been with them for 6 years and she's
Wow.
been working on this project called Psyche that's like building a spacecraft to go to an asteroid. And they just launched this past October. So that was pretty
Nice.
cool to
Yeah.
see that through. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool, man. Yeah, I have to have her on sometime. It'd be interesting to hear her story as well.
Probably more interesting than me, but
No, 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 no. Not at all. Not at all. So just a
yeah.
few more questions, then I'll let you go. So what makes you most happy?
Oh man, that's tough too. Um,
You
I
can think
think
about it.
yeah, it's like a kind of a, I would say I have two answers. I think I'm most happy when I'm challenging myself and
Yeah.
um, in triathlon, I think, and in work and in life, like I get that all the time. And I think the other thing that really makes me happy is relationships and
Hmm.
being with like my family, being with Gina, being with friends. Yeah, I think like I am so thankful for like the community of people that I have around me. And when you do spend so much time doing kind of an individual sport, it's like the moments you have to spend with other people are very amazing.
Hmm.
And so like yeah, when I'm traveling so much, I'm training so much, like I don't get to go home that much, you know, I don't get to see my friends that much.
Yeah.
And so when I do have those moments, I'm like, that's when I'm happy. I
Yeah, I
think
really relish.
yeah, I get to like appreciate yeah, the community of people around me. And yeah, it's like I don't really like to use the word sacrifice, but like when I've kind of been developing as an athlete, I've obviously missed a lot of big life events, in my family, with my friends, like
Hmm.
having to not, I guess it's an investment into myself and my career, but like, missing weddings or missing like family events and stuff like that
Yeah.
is really challenging. So when you do get to like spend moments with the people that you really care about, it's like that's pretty special.
Yeah, for sure. Your older sister, does she have any kids?
She does, yeah. She has one kid. His name's Mason, and I actually, yeah, luckily I got to like fly home right after the birth of him.
Oh,
He's
good.
a little over a year now, so he's like,
Okay.
yeah, he's walking and talking, and he's like all over the place. But I got
Oh,
to go
cool.
home for Christmas and Thanksgiving this year, which was great, and
Yeah.
spend time with him. It's just, yeah, when you're away, it's like then you come back, you just everything's changed. Like,
Yeah.
well, I think when you're with somebody every day, you kind of miss a lot of these small changes. But then, yeah, when you go back, it's
They're
like,
like all added
man,
up and boom. Yeah.
yeah, you see it in one moment, and it's like, man, this is, yeah. So stuff like that is hard. It's like to miss kind of stuff like that is challenging. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, we talk on the phone. They're always like so supportive of what I'm doing and
That's
the
important.
dreams that I have. Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's super neat. So I want you to imagine yourself, let's say 15 years from now, because that's probably a safe age to say, like, maybe triathlon is going to be, maybe you'll still be doing it, but not necessarily at the same level.
Yeah,
I don't want to limit you by any means, but 40. Um, you have a degree in finance. So that's something like that you said, you may be interested in and you like a new challenge. So the challenge is about to be set before you where you have to leave triathlon behind from and actually acting out in the sport. What do you think
yeah,
that you would do? Would it be something in finance?
yeah. I think it would. So I've like thought about this a lot actually because
Really? Good.
obviously, yeah, it's like I guess when you're kind of in this career, you're always like thinking sort of like, what am I going to do after? You always want to have kind of a backup plan, right? It's not going to last forever. There's kind of an inevitable timeline with athletics. And yeah, I don't really see myself like in the sport necessarily coaching or something like that, but I do love sports and like
Mm-hmm.
any sports, right? Like I mentioned earlier, basketball, football. I love like following sports. I love talking about sports. And so I could definitely see myself like in a financial role within some sort of sports or athletic company.
Yeah.
Whether it's like a major professional league or just like, yeah, trying to even like let's say USA Triathlon, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
in the finance department, something like that, like in a corporate role, I think, yeah, I can see myself doing that. I think I have two like clear interests to me at this point, and it's like I do really like finance, and I do really like sports. So it's like if I could combine those two in some way, I think that would be like the end game for me. That'd be really a dream. But I also probably understand that like out of triathlon, I'm probably going to spend, yeah, some years like not in that perfect situation. So
Mm-hmm.
at some point, I think, yeah, I want to get my MBA. I want to like spend some time
Really?
seeing different things in finance, maybe working in investment banking or whatever, like for a few years, just to see all these different avenues that I could go, and maybe my perspective will change. But for now, I could see myself somehow blending like sports and finance. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I would keep a book or in a Rolodex, a book of ideas and a Rolodex of names because I feel like you're bumping shoulders with a lot of really cool people as you continue to do what you're doing and travel the world. And then, yeah, there's plenty of ideas to be had, I feel like, for the sport because it's still relatively new.
Yeah, yeah, and I think like I'm inspired by, even a guy like Chris. It's like McCormick
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurial mindset. Like you have so much to give back to the sport that's given you so much. It's like, yeah, obviously I'd love to try to do something in that space. It'd be pretty cool. I think, yeah, like you said, the sport's so young and there is so much more to kind of develop, and we'll see where it goes. But hopefully, yeah, down the road I'll still be a part of that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I actually didn't even know that Chris was a part of the birth of Super League, if I'm not incorrect. Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, he is. I think he kind of saw like, yeah, just a lack of I guess, platform for like draft legal triathlon, but also this huge entertainment opportunity, right? Like
Yeah.
these athletes are some of the best athletes in the world, and like they do have entertainment value. And if you just create this kind of league, it's like very exciting, easy to watch, easy to follow. Like there is potential there for viewership and sponsorship and investment. And yeah, he was kind of a pioneer in that space. So it's
Yeah.
like pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, hit him up. I'm sure there'll be investment banking opportunities in some degree.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
But like you said, I mean, it's there's tons of people, right, that are like, yeah, being able to brush
Yeah.
shoulders, network with people in the sport. It's like that's another reason I want to get into like Ironman and 70.3. It's like, yeah, there's so much more to be had in terms of meeting people, and
Mm,
there are a lot of like unique personalities, and um, yeah, I think I do like love that. It's exciting for me.
yeah. That's awesome. So my kind of final question, and it might be a stupid one. So ever since I heard your name, I can't get out of my mind. I don't know how I'm gonna phrase this into a question. Is like the movie Cars with Lightning McQueen.
Yeah.
Do you get called Lightning McQueen ever, or is there any type of a relation that you've ever had with someone interacting with you in that car or that movie?
Yeah, a couple times, I guess. It's funny, like, yeah, I kind of have it two different ways. So, like, the generation that's like my age or younger is always Lightning McQueen around there.
Yeah.
And then the generation that's like my parents or like my grandparents is always Steve McQueen. Uh,
Okay.
so it's like those two things. And all the time, like, I remember the first time in I Raced a World Series, I was like leading the swim, and these commentators were like, "Who is this guy?" And I
McQueen.
think Helen Jenkins was like, "Oh, Lightning McQueen, like my kids, like they would love this guy." Like, yeah, it's like she was just watching me swim, I guess, and she's like, "Man, Lightning McQueen," and yeah, she would like she made that relation. But then, I guess like yeah, as the years have progressed, like even when I was in Chile this year, there's this guy that had like Lightning McQueen Crocs on, and he like made me sign them, and or wanted
Oh,
me to
that's so
sign them.
funny.
And so people are always, yeah, making some sort of joke or reference to that sort of
Yeah.
thing. But yeah,
What's Steve McQueen? I actually don't know.
Steve McQueen was an actor, so he was just like
Okay.
a famous actor in a lot of movies. But back in like yeah the I don't know 80s, 90s, 70s, whatever.
Yeah.
Like yeah, older generation. So yeah, I guess those two things.
Do you know the history behind your last name, McQueen, like where it comes from?
I don't. Well, I don't have any relation to Steve McQueen, which a lot of people have like tried to make that connection.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know. There's some sort of confusing thing online where it says like I'm his grandson or something. Um,
Oh, interesting.
if I am, I don't know about it. But yeah, I guess
Illegitimate child.
I'm lucky to have the grandparents that I have.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly like all the history and stuff, but yeah, I don't know. No relation to him.
Yeah. Good
So
deal. Well, Chase, thank you so much for coming on and let me ask some questions about your life and get to know more about Super League. I've been educated, super fortunate for that, and looking forward to everything you got going on in 2024. When, actually, one last question, when is the next opportunity for Olympic qualification?
so the last, I guess, is the last opportunity is in Yokohama, the World
Okay.
Series there in I think it's like May 12th.
Okay.
So
Coming up.
some months until that, yeah. But if the automatic criteria isn't hit there, then it comes down to like discretionary selection. And discretionary selection is based off of, more like holistic kind of looking at all your races. So
Yeah.
I think the first race I'll do is probably the first weekend in March, and then things kind of pick up from there. But yeah, kind of like a big push through June, and then kind of see what happens after that.
Sweet. Well, we'll be following along.
Yeah, appreciate it, Seth. Yeah, thanks for having me on too. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Thank you so much again to Chase McQueen for jumping on and for being willing to share just so much about his life, why he does what he does, what he's got going on, some practical advice for how to work through problems, and just sharing about some of the big dreams he has about getting to Taupo, New Zealand for the 70.3 World Championships, obviously the Paris Olympic Games, and so many other things. Thank you again. If you made it to this point in the podcast, just want to say thank you so much for listening. It really does mean a lot to me and the team behind this. I would ask that if you are watching on YouTube or any of those platforms where you can leave a comment and like the video and subscribe, please do. If you are on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Stitcher, iHeartRadio, any of those, Google Podcasts, please leave a review. That really does help us grow as well. And if you want to be a part of our newsletter, you can sign up at the stupidquestions.show. So that's stupidquestions.show at the website there. You can sign up to be a part of the newsletter, where we send out exclusives and giveaways and stuff that we're working on with partners. So thank you so much, and we will catch you guys in the next one.